players, curry garlic, and pumpkin chili. Need something delicious before kickoff? How about starting your meal with their brand new chorizo nachos and loaded fries? You better act fast. These new tastes of autumn won't be here long. So make the trip to one of their 2 Lincoln locations today on O Street or Village Lane. Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through December 17th is 15% off all wine and spirits and 25% off on thermometers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
When your home fills up with family, Allo Fiber makes sure that space is a happy place for everyone. Allo Fiber experts install it all, and full service means step-by-step support, guiding you through everything so you can stay connected to what matters, and the family can always feel at home. Put the game on, and don't worry about your Wi-Fi calling a timeout. Better TV and internet service is one connection away. Call Allo at 866-481-2556 or visit allofiber.com.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Why wait until Friday to start your weekend?
Go ahead, start right now.
You're thirsty now, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to help you stock up.
Just in time for the weekend when I like to hit the clubs.
Time to broaden your horizons and try some new wine and beer. It's Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer from Meyer's Cork and Bottle.
Oh, you know what that is. Listen.
That's a clicky.
That's a clicky for stricky. Oh, and a pop. You heard it. You know what time it is.
It's Uncle Kevin time.
How we doing, everybody?
Great, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing just fine.
How was Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was outstanding. It was very low key, just me and my wife and her folks. And we did I did a 2-day brine on the turkey. Got up, got it dried off, pat it off, rub it down with olive oil and some herbs, and then stuff both ends with celery, carrots, and apples. And then you take
apples.
Oh, that's right, because we got Ellie apples over here. And then you take an orange, cut it in half so you cap the back end and cap the neck and pin it closed, and then it went on the grill for about 3 hours and finished it off in the oven, collected all the juice and carved it and put it in the juice and made some nice gravy and the stuffing, and everything turned out awesome.
How obvious are the apple and orange flavors? I'm not going to lie, I'm a little skeptical of that.
They're not obvious at all. You can taste the rub, you can taste the brine, but they're mainly there for moisture. So while it's cooking, it's drawing the moisture out of that toward the exterior of the bird instead of drying out. And so that's
so it doesn't have that hardness on it.
Right, exactly.
Dryness.
So
right.
And there wasn't a dry piece of meat on that bird. It was outstanding.
Nice.
Only Big Grill Guy. Look him up, Big Grill Guy on X. Big Grill Guy. That's where you can find him. Listen, you're gonna run Ellie out, because if not, we go 2 for 1 for Stricky with the clicky. Because
yeah, we
Ellie,
can do that.
she's looking over there with her eyes just like.
Well, Ellie's not a big red wine fan yet. But let's this is a great red for Ellie to try because it's a Pinot Noir. And the reason I say that is that Pinot Noir has a thinner, more delicate skin.
Mhm.
And it creates a wine that isn't as heavy.
Right.
And this is also done by a guy by the name of Joseph Wagner, who has a very famous father. His name's Chuck Wagner, who founded Camus Vineyards.
Nicknamed Joe Wag.
Nicknamed Joe Wag, Jay Waggles. And so anyway, Camus Vineyards is famous for their Cabernet. It goes for $100 a pop.
Ooh.
He learned to make wine from his old man. And this is his Oregon Pinot Noir. So
So this is $100.
this is not.
No,
but
this is the Pinot, not the cab.
It comes from $100 stock.
Right. These are actually on sale right now for $17.99.
I can smell the strength.
This might
from
be
here.
a Strix pick. I see it right now.
How was the Thanksgiving fall wine sale?
Retail wise, we were down a little bit, but we're so busy with catering and holiday events and all that. So, I mean, I've got no room to complain. And I will say this, thank you, ticket listeners, because I had at least half a dozen people say, I came in specifically because I listened to the show. I love Thirsty Thursday. I always learn something new. And so I wanted to give you the business. So thanks for being loyal. Thanks for your patronage. And nobody appreciates it more than we do.
Go in there and let them know I'm looking for the Strix pick because that's it.
I
Whatever
had a
that
great
is right
time
there.
this Thanksgiving telling my whole family, like, yeah, this is the one time a year that the wine is really going fast.
Very good.
Thanksgiving. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh my gosh, how did you know that? I was like,
Ooh.
Thirsty Thursday.
Ellie, the Wienerphile.
The Enophile, yes.
Enophile.
OEN.
Indeed.
OPHILE. Enophile.
Ellie's dying after one sip.
No, I haven't.
This is good.
I haven't even tried it yet. I just smelled it.
It's actually sweet.
It has a little bit
smooth.
of, yeah.
It's smooth. It's got a smooth sweetness to it. Pass the Dutchie to the right hand
hold on.
side.
Hold on.
Come on down.
You're on camera.
I'm not.
Oh, you're
Thank
not?
God. Because the space could turn into a meme or something.
Hey, grab that.
A meme face.
Let me try. I only tried once. I'll
Yep.
give it to you, Strick. I'll give it to you.
Don't be
But
scared.
Let me
Plus
breathe.
there's- So what I want you to do is just take a little sip and kind of slurp it and just a little tiny sip. Wash it, slurp it over.
Yeah,
your
don't
palate.
gulp it like you do the brew when you on
Don't
O Street
gulp
down
it.
at the down the block. Just
So just do a little
swish it
slurp.
around. There you go.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
I see you.
Much better. Good job.
She gave
I
the
love
bitter
it.
beer face.
I
It's
love it.
hilarious.
Give it to
Yeah,
Strick.
it is.
Stricky, what do you like about this one?
Well,
I
I just like the
appreciate it.
smoothness. I like the smoothness. It gives me a little slight plummy, little cherry-ish to it. I could be wrong, but
Never.
I could be. But
Never.
I think
It's
I think
smooth.
you're
It's just
straight up.
smooth.
Yeah, it has that softer mouthfeel to it.
yeah,
Sometimes red wines can, because of the tannins, give you a little bit of a perhaps a harsh or bitter sensation.
right.
Which, I mean, Ellie's getting that sensation full on, but
She's soft.
she's
I know.
but your training wheels will come off eventually, and
I didn't hate it.
there's
I
gonna
act-
You need to
I
get you a
didn't mind it.
Zinfandel. You need a Riesling. That's what you need.
we've
I
done
like
some Riesling.
Riesling.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did some of that, and
I'll bring in my wine.
but there's going to be a time.
It ain't a clicky for street. Go ahead. It's gonna be a what? Time
There's
what?
going to be a time where you have your light bulb moment, and you're going to
Yes.
have your gateway wine, and it's gonna hit all the notes. It's going to check all the boxes, and you're going to go, okay, now
Everything
I
you're
get it.
saying to me, my friend Bethany has said to me before. We had wine night the other night, and the wine she chose was a little bit stronger than I like. She's like, you just have to boost your palate, and I'm like,
But this is your friend
Uncle
Bethany.
Kev.
It's not Uncle Kev. Come
says
on.
that to me all the time, and she was like,
My
okay.
my intro wine was Boone's Farm.
Yeah,
That got me going.
Little
Mine's
Strawberry
very
Hill.
foot.
My take me to the next level was Menage a Trois.
that's right. Yeah,
And I'm not talking about in reality, but I'm talking about the wine.
Yes, there is a wine called that.
Menage a Trois.
Right.
We do have a question from OG Les Lancaster who says, ooh, a good mouthfeel follow-up. What do you mean by mouthfeel?
Pause.
It is not a pause.
Pause!
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Menage a trois.
So mouthfeel is essentially a combination of things. Your palate has 5 taste zones. So you've got sweet, salt, bitter, acid, and what the Japanese call umami. Umami. And so when
I love it.
When you have mouthfeel, what I'm referring to is perhaps a bitter, acidic, sharp sort of a sensation versus a soft, pillowy, rich sensation. And so that's essentially what I mean by that.
David from Renew, shout out to David from Renew. They took care of me too. Shout out to them. They took care of 10 on my car. They did a wonderful job. So if you need that, shoot David from Renew a contact. But he said MG 2020.
Oh yeah, you know it.
That ain't a wine. What is that? Is that a wine or a liquor?
Mogan David 2020. It's a fortified wine to bring the alcohol content up to 20% alcohol, but it's also sweet, and it was cheap. You know, it still is cheap, and so it was
like Boone's Farm,
like a Four Loko.
Kind of like, yeah, it was my generation's Four Loko, and you know, so it was sort of the wino wine, you know, from.
It ain't like that Thunderbird.
It is like the Thunderbird.
See, we taking them back there. We taking them back.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Stricky knows a thing or two about being Thunderbird.
Yes, he does. Bellevue West.
That's a fact. Unnamed texter 5584 says, please tell Mr. Meyer we loved the Feather Cabernet he recommended for our Wisconsin friends coming down.
Green Wing. So that was the second label of Duckhorn Vineyards, which is Napa Valley, same winemaker, but this is their Washington State foray, and it's got a green feather on the label to stick with sort of the duck theme. And I actually brought one of those in here in the studio, and we did it for Thirsty Thursday, and it's become one of our best-selling wines in the store. So I appreciate you, and thank you for the positive feedback. I'm glad it worked.
A couple more things from the text line before we get to something from our good friends at Cross Strain. Patrick says, thanks for the Beaujolais Nouveau story and wine a couple weeks ago. We have 6496 saying, my epiphany wine was Coors Light. God made you perfect with the palate you got. If you got to train it to something, it's no good.
OG Les Lancaster also says, is it still called mouthfeel when it's a bourbon? Or is there another term?
I would say mouthfeel is sort of universal to regardless of whether it's an alcoholic beverage or anything else. Yeah. But
there's always some form of a mouthfeel depending on.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing about whiskey and distilled spirits is that you're talking about 4, sometimes 5 times the alcohol, maybe even 6 times the alcohol content of like even a dry red wine, which would come in about 14%. And so that is definitely a training of the palate so that the vapors of that alcohol don't burn. And I learned how to taste tequila from a tequila-ria in Mexico. And the guy taught me about taking a little sip and then you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth and it blows the vapors out. And so then you can start to taste the actual product versus the alcohol burn. And so maybe we should try that with your wine, Miss Ellie.
Yeah, that's how you take a shot. You take a deep breath in, you take the shot, and then you breathe it out, and you don't taste the shot.
Yep. So same deal.
Okay, you learned something.
Yep.
Tell us about the beer.
Start with the wine.
All right. So the beer.
You know, Ellie wants to get to this part. She like the
looks fun.
This is kind of up your alley, Ellie.
I want to keep the can.
You can certainly have the can. It's called Inflatable Snowman. And it's from our good friends at Cross Strain Brewing.
Pause. We need to nullify that because we don't want no snow right now. I like the way we going. Cool. Just keep the snow away. I'm all right with.
If it's 18 degrees
I'm just
outside,
canceling.
it better be snowing. Then there's no reason for it to be that
I
cold.
don't want snow, and I'm nullifying the name of that right now.
It's just the inflatable snowman. So it's just a
decoration. Okay.
Yeah.
I see you.
Yeah.
I see you.
So it's like one of those things that you put in your front yard that would last for about a week.
Shout out to Austin Orman, my partner.
Yeah.
My man.
So this is a lager that is brewed with cranberry and cinnamon.
Oh, that's good, my boy.
Yeah. That just tastes like the holidays right there.
My God. Christmassy. This is Christmassy.
Yeah. You can definitely taste the cranberry. You can taste the cinnamon. And the beer itself is actually relatively light. It looks good in the glass. It has that sort of rosé sort of color.
Rick Ross?
Rick Ross. Yeah, Ricky Rose.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No,
You
I
ain't
got
sorry,
you.
but it's okay.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down. Uncle Kev's hip to the game.
Yeah.
So
That's a good beer, Uncle Kev.
yeah, and I always want to do everything I can to support local.
Yeah.
And
Cross Train
so-
is in Papillion?
Yeah, Papillion of La Vista.
Yeah.
I haven't had a beer from them that I didn't think was absolute quality. And I think that they would be one of my favorite breweries, even if they weren't a Nebraska brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Them and White Elm are probably my two favorite overall. Just the beers that they make sort of fit my style, and everything they do, you can tell, comes with a lot of effort and meticulous technique and a lot of knowledge. So,
Could you get
Cross-Train
Stricky
inflatable snowman?
Could you get Stricky? Could you get Stricky a
You good?
Easy for
tour?
you to say.
Can you get Stricky a tour?
Yeah, yeah, I
we,
can get you a tour.
we need to do that. Stricky might want to see what's going on down at Cross Train.
Yeah.
I like what's going on with this beer. This has been good. Every time you bring them in here, I love it.
I have to agree.
It is a unique color. That's the first thing I noticed.
It almost looks like a rosé champagne.
Yeah. Very little hoppiness on it at all.
Mhm.
Super smooth.
Mhm.
Super smooth.
Definitely the cinnamon on the back end. You get
Oh,
the
yeah, you
cranberry
definitely
up
get it.
front.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just tastes like the holidays.
Ain't that the truth? Pick you up some. Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South. Look for the neon. You cannot miss it. You should not miss it. Uncle Kev, thanks for coming in. Glad you had a good Thanksgiving.
I appreciate
Good to see
you.
as
Thank
always.
you.
He's Kevin Meyer. He's Strick on the end. I'm Austin. Ellie's been on the board. Don't go anywhere. Old school. I got Jay with me for the next couple hours. Don't miss it.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CRF-R Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CRF Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with a Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CRF 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to look at their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Make the short drive to Pleasantdale and enjoy a great meal at the P-Dale Pub. From prime rib, patty melts, ribeyes, drink specials, and so much more, the P-Dale Pub provides a small-town feel with exceptional service and delicious food. Visit the P-Dale Pub in Pleasantdale today and watch their Facebook page each week to find out their dinner specials.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman? We're the Old School crew. We want a before we get into it, big shout out to Uncle Kev, as we like to call him, Meyer Cork and Bottle, 13th and South. Always good for him to come in and bring the vibe, great libations, and education on Thursday, a.k.a. Eric Strickland end of the week holiday. But me and Austin, we're Old School. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Laundromat, and 168th and Maple up there in the O. A lot going on, obviously continuous in Nebraska football, from the, beginning of the week and so forth and so on. And then, at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, we usually do Whiteboard Wednesdays. Yesterday was National Signing Day. So we actually gracefully, we allowed the youngsters that's going to come in and change everybody's program, to take precedent, but we're going to do a whiteboard.
It better make it worth it.
It is worth it. It's a little bit extended version, and then we'll have some actually cooking here where we'll be able to. I'm working on trying to get a projector and a little pointer, work on some things, season in review, stuff like that. But the whiteboard would be good. Since Tony White is in at Florida State, and Terrence Knighton left, everybody is up in arms. Are we going to play a 3-man front, 4-man front? So I'm going to give you my review and show you, besides telling you, that there isn't a big difference or any difference at all. I played in all three defenses, so it's going to be 3-3-5, 3-3-5, 4-3, and 3-4. I have a special picture of what makes the 3-4 work, as you've seen it, Austin, in that last email. And when I talk about this man, I talk about it with it because he was a great dude. Taught me how to be a professional, and he helped me make some money. So anyways, but now since we have about 10 minutes, a little bit of aftermath, you got 48 hours, give or take, Tony White decided to leave, and 24 hours after Terrence Knighton left, and the same 48 hours that Dana Holgerson was named as offensive coordinator, so forth and so on. Obviously, a lot of transition. You got quite a few players that are in the portal from Nebraska and across the nation. There will be even more through the weekend, especially after championship weekend. Then you know how that all shakes out. And some kids want to get started on their next, part of their career or where they're going to go next, even if their team is in the college football playoffs, which is, odd to say. You work all year and maybe put 2 years worth of work in, get a chance to be a part of something really special, the first one, and you're in the portal. But, business is business and football is football. So, back to Nebraska, I think, we weren't on air on Tuesday, or at least I wasn't, I should say. But, look, man, I mean, the coaching is a business, and it can't, we have to get past, even if a player goes in the portal or anything like that. And there's different circumstances to every situation. We got to get past of like, oh, well, he hated it here, or it was, X, Y, and Z. And if that, there might be some of that to it, but ultimately, when you make a move like that, you feel like you start to weigh. Look, you get, first and foremost, you got to think about your family, right? That's before football. Your family, is who obviously love and care about, and then you're going to talk with them, and then you got to look career wise. What can you do? Where can you continue along the path of ascension through the ranks, and then possibility. I'm assuming Tony White eventually wants to be a head coach to get there, and he saw it as a good opportunity. And we were fortunate enough that he was able to come to Nebraska and revitalize, especially one side of the ball, and do some stuff that nobody thought could be done. Considering that at times, I do think that the defense played well, over the 3-4 games under Bill Bush, but I think obviously the tenure before wasn't up to standard, and he was able to change it, and he didn't have to. The one thing that I don't think he gets enough credit for is he didn't bat an eye coming in here. He didn't have to be stacked with talent. He developed guys. He got them better. He made a lot out of a little with some circumstances, or some circumstances in some players, and you hate to see him leave, but then also that he's going to be on the, hopefully, well, not bigger and better, but in his case bigger and better, but different. And then it's up to the Coach Rule, and I guess Coach Butler is going to be the D coordinator for the bowl game, and then you got to move forward, and then you go from there. I mean, I think this thing right here, the way college football is starting to shake out, when the 105 isn't official, but everybody knows it's officially unofficial. You got to start making moves towards that, and so do the players. And it's going to be a transaction type of situation early, and I think the coaches that look at it smartly are going to be able to hang in there tight, even in some lean years. And that's whether you lose staff, support staff, add to your support staff, find unique ways to kind of maybe have a little bit of an old school type of mentality and a new age version of this thing of college professional sports. And whoever has the bandwidth to think outside of the box will do really, really well.
And I think that the best example of that is Kirby Smart right now, right? Talk about an old school mentality coming up at Georgia, then with Alabama under Nick Saban, right? He knows the old school mentality.
Right.
But he also knew to pass Nick Saban, to beat Nick Saban, right? Not just to compete with Nick Saban. Kirby Smart's goal once he left Alabama was to beat Nick Saban, to elevate Georgia from that 9-3, 10-2 program to that next step. Kirby couldn't afford to do things the exact same way Nick Saban did. No. He had to take what Nick Saban did, what made him successful, those principles, figure out what worked for him, what worked for Georgia, what fit. But then what Kirby Smart did, I don't want to say better than Nick Saban, but what you get some credit for is adjusting to the new age, right? Saban did it with his offense. He modernized when Lane went there and through all the other different offensive coordinators. Kirby Smart did that from the get-go.
Yeah.
The best coaches in college football innovate. It's not that they're just these scheme guys that never talk to their players, never have relationships, they sit alone in their office all day. The teams that win in college football either elevate or innovate in terms of scheme, in terms of player recruitment, sometimes legal, sometimes not legal, depending on the era, or in player retention and development.
Yeah.
If you're not innovating in at least one of those areas, you're probably not going to be a top 25 team consistently.
Yeah, and he's done it, and the principles of Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, whoever wins this year, because when you look at the top 12 teams that potentially are getting in, they're all built the same. Those principles generally don't deviate off that path too far, and that's just obviously you got to be extremely physical, fundamentally sound, low penalties and turnovers, and then obviously you got to develop and have great athletes out there, but you got to have a big percentage of, in well over 65%. Easily trending towards 75%. Obviously when we played, it was more in the high 90s or mid 90s% of your team invested into the team, knowing that your individual stuff will come within that. And so I think it's generally the flip part of that. 35% is where you need, and that's where you see the different teams every year. And then you get, a good, 2-year run, and then you got to keep that up. And I think it's going to be a 2 or 3 year run where you can be really, really good. You might plateau a little bit and then come back up towards top. And so a lot of that, whether you dip or you're trying to get up into that, position where you're, 8 to 10 wins and then you can get a special year is, you can't panic, right?
Yeah.
You can't scrap it every single time. Here's an example. And I'll say this, unfortunately for my dad, he didn't make it past the final 30, right? We had a long talk about it. And of course he's upset and, as he should be, definitely unbiased. I think he should be in. But I had some ideas based on what he was doing to maybe elevate that. Roger Craig didn't get in either, which is the two most prominent multi-purpose backs are not in. I think they should combine forces. San Francisco, Viking fans, Nebraska fans, so forth and so on. Even Roger stretches up into Iowa. My dad's on the East Coast as well. My point is this. When you're frustrated and disappointed, right? Maybe at times during this year or at any team, right? You don't panic and scratch it and say, we got to start over. You got this far for a reason. For my dad, he's never been this far in the process before. So you're doing something good, right? Because you came 3 steps versus 0. So now let's see what we did with 3 to get to 3. Tidy that up and then add to it by expanding what I call our bandwidth. And that's the same thing when you're thinking about, say you had aspirations to like if Ole Miss doesn't make it, right? They put a lot of money in NIL for their roster, probably second to or maybe third to Ohio State, Texas A&M. They could go back and forth. I'm sure Texas has, but the ones that are out in front, right?
That we know.
So you can't say, okay, well now next year we're not going to spend any. You know what I mean? You say,
Right.
okay, well, maybe we need to find a way to spend the same or a little bit more, but more effectively. Maybe we need to, fidget with the percentages to certain parts of our team, and then also really look at what's coming down the pipe based on the 105 and development. So, I think that's, kind of when you lose staff members and 2 coaches that are obviously very prominent, both in their production of being able to have, good positions or good defensive group and good position group, is that you can't panic. You got to go out there and understand that, you're doing some good things. Nebraska is a blue blood and appealing. And if you can get this thing back to where you're in this weekend or in this conversation of the final 12 or better yet, top 15, because I think you could be on the outside looking in. Some things happen, you can get in. That elevates you 2 or 3 times faster than going somewhere and panicking or blowing it up and panicking and just coming in with a whole new crew.
And that's where, to use maybe a Nebraska example, the Marcus Satterfield and Dana Holgorsen thing, right? Some people said, oh, it's a panic move. Other people say it's a change move. You panic if you don't have a plan. You panic if you feel obligated to do something.
Right.
Sometimes you just come to a point where you have to make a decision, right? Like you said, what you've done has worked to X degree. Let's get it to Y degree, because that has to happen. Change just for change looks like panic. It looks desperate. It smells desperate. It's usually easy to tell. But you also can't be afraid to make change because of how it's perceived.
Yeah,
You just got to make the right decision. If you come to it sooner, great. If you come to it later, you're probably skating on some thin ice. But there comes a point where you have to recognize what works, what doesn't work, get enough input from the outside, but trust yourself at the same time. And the problem, I think, for a lot of coaches that they, I'm sure they recognize, but they don't have the time to slow down and think about, is that so many of their moves are graded by did it work or did it not work?
Yeah.
And not even to their standard, to the fan standard, to the outside perspective standard. Because you can go through the perfectly 100% correct hiring process, ask all the right questions, talk to all the right people, exhaust yourself doing all the research you can. You make the best decision.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You get raked over the coals for it. Doesn't mean you were wrong necessarily. It just means it didn't work.
Yeah,
The problem is it's a results-based business.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100%, factual. And that's a great point, Austin. And there's other factors. This is what I like analytics. I think you run into trouble when you go to listen. Brandon Staley out there, he literally lost the job by analytics. Okay. And, and how I, or kind of make an analogy towards coaching is that you only can make the decision in that point in time for that moment. You got to go through the process and you have to be very comfortable whether it works or doesn't work. What doesn't go into that is we can go back to on paper, and this is not to, this is not a jab at Scott, but I'm just saying this is Scott Frost. This is realistically the real. 99.9% of the state, or probably high 90%, it's not 99%, was like, we have to hire Scott. It's the perfect timing. He was in Oregon, worked his way up, went there, got turned around a program, so he can you figure like he can come in and turn us around. Under Chip Kelly with Helfrich and all that, turned down other places because you remember he turned down Colorado State, Florida, Tennessee, all these schools that want him. So then he goes, and then he comes here, and then here's another factor that's not in any of the analytics, right? Because it doesn't matter who it was. Kirk Herbstreit, Joe Klatt, Jay Foreman, everybody thought, okay, this is it, right? This is it. He's changed all this other stuff. Then you get here, and then it's a hardest job. It's a hard job if you make it, because you got to be able to deal with the pressure. But if you deal with the pressure the right way, it's not as bad unless you don't deal with it right. You got a ton of media obligations. For a small town like Lincoln, you probably have more coverage here than maybe if you were like, if I was the Minnesota Gophers coach, or like PJ Fleck. He's only got to face a couple guys, Saturdays after the game, and maybe once a week it's like 3-4 guys, right? Because you got Minnesota and everything else. Those are the other factors. And when you're trying to make these decisions, like you're saying, whether it's Coach Holgorsen or Satterfield, you got to make the best decision for right then also think about long term with the university or the program. But then also, let's not forget, Dana was here earlier in the year, and so the timing wasn't right. The timing became right maybe during the bye week, and you had to make a decision. It probably maybe something that had been on the back of your mind for some time, and it is what it is. And so you just got to get to and it's a learning process. Everybody's starting over when you go to you could go to a different place. Like I could win. I could be a very successful coach at just say can't say South Dakota State anymore, but just say South Dakota State when they were a little bit lower, right? Take my whole crew, same thing, and go to Oklahoma State. And it takes a little while to adjust to that type of, Big 12 and that magnitude. And that's why where Deion goes from Jackson State to Colorado and is working, it lets you know that, you're able to trim the fat. And so, I think it's just part of the process, and it'll be interesting to see who they hire, and it's pretty cool I guess not cool, but it's good coincidence that we're going to do the whiteboard Wednesday today, because then we could talk about the difference. Because when people would come up to me all the time in Hy-Vee about the 3-man front, 4-man front, 3-3-5, or we're going to do it. They forget that there's a thing called third down and 11 personnel, and sometimes 10 personnel and 12 personnel. That they play what's called nickel defense, which is a 4-man front, so it doesn't really matter what we were playing against base. And they look at me like I'm talking a different language. So hopefully, obviously online they'll be able to see it. But nevertheless, it's we'll take a quick break, and I got to really go back and look at the class, and I'm gonna give my thoughts on recruiting now, how that changes based on the 105. Because it's interesting, because you have to have a very unique and strategic process and point to it. So everybody's looking at, okay, we got to get a bunch of Eric Dickersons and all that. And, we recruit 20 guys, 18 are going to be starting. I think you have to look at it a little bit differently, as long as everything is everything, and you're moving, holistically as a team in the right direction. So we'll take a quick break. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Make the short drive to Pleasantdale and enjoy a great meal at the P-Dale Pub. From prime rib, patty melts, ribeyes, drink specials, and so much more, the P-Dale Pub provides a small-town feel with exceptional service and delicious food. Visit the P-Dale Pub in Pleasantdale today and watch their Facebook page each week to find out their dinner specials.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through December 17th is 15% off all wine and spirits and 25% off on thermometers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, will treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. It doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Doren. God bless you.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Davis Plumbing is a locally owned company specializing in a wide range of plumbing services for both commercial and residential customers. Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and has a team of experienced plumbers ready to help you with any project, big or small. Customer satisfaction and peace of mind is their number one priority. So for any commercial or residential project, give Davis Plumbing a call today at 402-525-6922. Davis Plumbing, locally owned and operated for over 15 years.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals in everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, invites you to attend our upcoming Parts and Service Expo events. It's the best time to buy parts and schedule inspections all year. Take advantage of specials through December 13th with additional savings the day of your local expo. Find savings on oil and filters, gifts for under the tree, and pre-ordered John Deere parts. Visit with our trained and certified technicians and sign up for our winter service specials. Visit landmarkimp.com for a complete schedule and experience the Landmark difference.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. Quick segment before we can get into a little bit longer session here with the Whiteboard Wednesday on a Thirsty Thursday. I think right now when you're recruiting, I think you have to break up your recruiting class into 3 sections. You still got to have like guys that you want to develop and see where they shake out, right? Say you're recruiting a kid from Idaho, lineman, and say he's 265 pounds, but he's a good athlete, obviously very raw. He needs a couple years to catch up. That's fine. You think by the 3rd year you should be able, this redshirt sophomore year, you should know what you got, right? Whether you're going to be able to get him out there during that season or the next season, or he's going to have to transfer and go down the level. Okay, so you can still put a third, or not a complete 33%, but 3 different sections of recruiting class. So that's one development. And then the other at the very top are, your guys that, whether it's a position of need or they are ready physically, mentally, and spiritually to go out there and play early, freshmen. And that's generally your early enrollees. Or if they're from a state where they have a really good high school program, you can know he's going to come in ready to go. Obviously, with Nebraska, being able to, go practice for a bowl game, they're able to get some guys in there early to at least go to practice, so forth and so on. So I think that's your ones that you got, your guys that are going to be out there early, guys that that are not going to be out there early, and then there's a part of we'll see. You watch 4 games. Oh, he's going to play early. I don't know if he's ready. And then a lot of it depends on what you do in the portal. if it's a really position of need, or if it's a position of not as intensified of a need. That's how you're going to do it. And then obviously, you're going to have to continue to do that. In those percentages to those three like buckets will change based on prior year's performance, what's out there in the portal, or what you can get high school wise. Because if you have a great run in a hotbed that you can go around, or you just have a really good class where you're getting a lot of freshmen that they're coming in, they're ready to play, you got to throw them out there. Because obviously, as we know, with this transfer portal, and I think it'll slow down a little bit with the 105 because it'll be a contract, and it'll go both ways. That you'll be able to get guys or keep guys on campus a little bit longer.
It's obviously not going to be an even 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. When you look at Nebraska, what's kind of your theory for what percentage of each class needs to be developmental guys, ready to play guys, and then that third category?
For this class that we just got,
just in general.
I mean,
yeah. How would you break it up when you're looking for it?
Ooh, that's tough, man. I think the smallest percentage is probably the like in between.
Okay. Yeah.
Ideally, we'd like to get even Steven after that, a percentage of guys that are in development, and then all the guys that are playing. If you can get 6, 7 freshmen that are able to play and be contributors, that's a heck of a class. Yeah. And then if you got 6 development guys, and you got some guys in the middle, so that's 12. And so just say you have 6 or 18 total, you get 3 extra ones that play. So actually 9 actually play. Maybe the bottom of the top and the 3, so 4 really start to hit off in the last 5 or 6 games. So nobody redshirt. So you got 9 kids that don't redshirt, and then you got 9 that do redshirt. That's that's pretty good, because you'd like to think that bottom half, the ones that didn't play in year one, will be pushing towards past that 4 games. Let's also, your record dictates that as well.
Right.
The situation dictates that as well. And can you get them in there within that 4 games without them losing a lot of confidence, but making sure they gain a ton of confidence in the learning experience and the playing experience? So it's constant bi-weekly roster management, ego management, salary cap management that you have to be. I don't think there's anybody there's no perfect way to do it, because it changes all the time. So you have to be open to suggestions and adjustment. And then also, when you have a time to knock it out of the park, you can't swing and miss.
It's always interesting to see how coaches judge their current situation and because every coach comes in with an assumption of their athletic department and what they think their level of support is going to be. The coaches, I think, that are more comfortable with where they're at and feel like they truly have the backing of their administration, I think more often than not are the ones that tend to lean into a higher percentage of developmental guys in the first class or 2, paper over the rest with the ready to go transfers and not so many high impact freshmen. The ones that I think take a job because they're wanted, they maybe know they weren't the first option for this school, might have gotten turned down by a higher profile candidate. Those are the ones that I think that, going back to last segment, are the ones that maybe panic a little bit, right? Have a plan that they don't stick to because they don't feel fully confident they have the backing of the people above them.
Yeah.
So they'll try to cut the line. They'll try to swing big, hit a 3-run home run with no one on base sort of thing. It's always interesting to judge these coaches based on not just how they do in year one, but how they recruit and what they go for, right? Signetti is the example of, I don't know if he knew what he was getting from Indiana. I don't know if Indiana knew what they were getting for him. What was he able to do? Bring in a lot of guys that had played college football, guys he trusted, but then next year, but I think really, 2 or 3 years from now, we're going to see how that recruiting looks. It's going to be on an uptick, but we'll see just what Kurt Signetti thought about Indiana and the level of support he was going to receive. I think by the recruiting classes he has and how many contributors he has from his first class or 2 in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, he obviously knew what he was getting coming in there, and it could also change the culture because the leadership and the winning mentality and what it takes to win is already built in. And plus, you got to also think about this, and this is kind of works where I think where kids going into portal got to really, really take it. Like you walk out the door, you got to turn around and look. Whereas you got the Taj Mahal over there, you got to make sure no matter, there's about 4 or 5 places maybe that you go is equivalent to that. Well, on the flip side, Indiana and all their players, I think he brought in 13, 14 guys from James Madison.
Mm-hmm.
They left, and James Madison is pretty good at FCS, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you come here or come to Indiana. It's bigger, more high profile. They just had an influx of NIL money, right? At that when he got there, that's how they got him, or Kirk Cignetti. And then they appreciate everything they have.
Yeah.
And then they started to win. And so now it's just essentially a boilover effect. So if all those 13 guys, and I know they probably paid guys a little bit more, but if I doubt they're all were getting, say, $20,000 per player NIL, and I'm sure they're getting a little bit more than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus, I'm talking about back at James Madison, to what they're getting now on a bigger stage, and they're in the college football playoffs, and they're all the national stuff. It's a totally different thing. So I think it's just where Nebraska's at and where they could be. And it's just a process. They're probably closer than what they probably think or people give them credit for. But then also you got to make sure you don't hang your hat on being close. We've been there before, but being close, because that gray area I talk about when you're ascending through the clouds, you're getting through the top. And so if you don't hit the gas hard enough and really add some things to it, you could be stuck in there for a little while.
When you get into that gray area, you got to trust that you're still going the right way.
Yeah.
It might be murky. It might be hard to see. Like you're saying, hit the gas.
Yeah.
Don't dip down, because you don't know how close to the end of the gray area you are. But if you let off the gas, you tap the brake, whatever it is, you're never going to see the top of the mountain.
Yeah, steadfast. I mean, it's hard, man. I mean, look for these kids and have some success and people calling you. I never was, I never was exposed to any of that. And so the same thing for these kids. They have a lot of distractions and phone calls, and we can pay you more and all this. Sometimes, grass isn't always greener. And I think also the hidden value here at Nebraska is something, if you were able to get enough guys to understand, and I'm not saying, don't definitely, be underpaid, right? Obviously, get a fair market value, but also think about the value of if you really, really go in and lock in, really, really go back and peel the onion or the skin off the onion and let your eyes water a little bit on last season. I guarantee there's some things they know they can control and fix that will get you to 8 wins, 9 wins. You get the 8, 9 wins here at Nebraska. There's not, I'm telling you, and it's weird for me to say because we were undefeated or bust. That's the only thing we knew. You get the 8, 9 wins and you get into you get into the tournament.
Oof.
You have no idea what you're going to be, a part of in this day and age of college football. But we're going to take a quick break, come back, and we're going to do our Whiteboard Wednesday on this Thursday. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School Crew. We'll be back.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Make the short drive to Pleasantdale and enjoy a great meal at the P-Dale Pub. From prime rib, patty melts, ribeyes, drink specials, and so much more, the P-Dale Pub provides a small-town feel with exceptional service and delicious food. Visit the P-Dale Pub in Pleasantdale today and watch their Facebook page each week to find out their dinner specials.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see increasing cloud cover throughout the day with light winds and an afternoon high around 26. Tonight, mostly clear with calm winds and a low near 19. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with light winds and an afternoon high near 46. I'm meteorologist Kyle Becker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, DP. He's out doing DP things. He's traveling right now. He'll be checking in. I think it's UFC weekend, right, Austin?
It's UFC weekend. Husker wrestling out in Vegas as well.
So DP is double dipping. We are Old School, brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese Special Ingredients Butcher Shop. 4 locations, 3 in Lincoln, 1 in Omaha. Obviously, go in there and you can still grill. You can cook inside. They have single servings, family servings, anything you want. On spices, even some candy, beef jerky, and all that stuff. So anyways, this is Whiteboard Wednesday on a Thursday. So the big
Teach Tape Thursday?
Is what?
Teach Tape Thursday?
Not yet. We'll always do Whiteboard Wednesday.
Okay, Whiteboard Wednesday.
Yeah,
Love it.
keep people, it's the middle of the week, right?
Yeah.
And it's 23 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So everybody talks about the difference of 3-man front, 4-man front, 3-4, 3-3-5, 4-2-5, 4-3. I'm sure missing something. 5-1, 5-1-5, which is essentially for you people out there. Actually, it'd be a 4-1-7 is dime. So, anyways, right here, I'm doing the pros. This is the 3-4 right here, and so this is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are the foundation of the 3-4. And I went from Pittsburgh. I'd like to say it went to Buffalo, then it went to New England, then obviously Bama and so forth and so on.
Dick LeBeau, right?
Dick LeBeau. Then he actually at one point in time brought it to Cincinnati when he was coach. But now this is right here, the 3-4. It's a pretty much imprint in the city of Pittsburgh. It's been Hall of Fame, players after players after players. Any defense that you think about, we'll just go by 3-4. It's hard for people that are listening on the radio, but if you got to go back and watch it on YouTube. So right here, so 3-4, we got right here. That's the 3 defensive linemen. So the 3 is 3 defensive linemen. This is called a zero technique, right? Essentially, you are head up on the center. That's got to be a dude, right? Then you got right here, you got a 5 technique, right? Or maybe a 4-eye. And this right here is the same one. So that's your 3 defensive linemen. Right?
5's lined up over the tackles, 4
Yeah.
eye between tackle and guard.
Yeah, 5 is head up on the tackle. In this camera angle, you can't really see. And 4 eye is inside shade of the tackle. So essentially for this right defensive end and left on the left side of the formation, he's a little bit head up inside. So you can say it's a little bit, and that could vary versus the formation. Right here, this is 12 personnel, which is 1 back and 2 tight ends right here. Okay, that actually looks like an extra lineman. So it is still 12 personnel. It's big personnel, so you might play that. And then you have 4 linebackers, right? So we'll go from outside in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This right here is most likely your strong safety, right? So you have the 3 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers. You see Nebraska, really, to be honest with you, they play this front right here. And then you would just take the safety and move them out at times. They play this front at all times. I mean, not all times, a lot of the times. And you vary the alignments of these outside backers here based on the coverage, the splits of the receivers out here, okay, and what defense is called, right? And so, I mean, that's just a base 3-4, okay? That's 3 defensive linemen, so, and 4 linebackers. 1 inside, 1 box safety. So that would be in our defense, if they ran a 3-4, I guess Gifford. Yeah, it'd be Gifford. And obviously you'd have different right here. But they, they've done it in at times and it looks different based on the personnel. You don't have to be huge to play as one of the 3 defensive linemen. I mean, like I said, for me, we had Ted Washington that was huge, and we had Bruce Smith and Phil Hansen, both of them about 270, 265, anywhere from 260 to 270. You got to be really, really good with your hands, heavy hands, so forth and so on. You can run any coverage out of this defense. You can blitz off the edge right here, right? You can drop, right? You can blitz here. I know we're scribbling. And then we can drop your which is essentially a zone blitz, drop your defensive tackles. Let them see if they can get an interception, right? And so
how about Leonard Williams?
Hey, you could tell he used to run track.
17 miles an hour.
Yeah.
330 pounds.
And you saw, and once you saw that head cock back, he was gone.
Strike up the band.
Yes, sir. Strike up the band. And so that's the basis of the 3-4. Little bit of a blurry look, but it's still good. You can get it here, and we'll do some really cool stuff in the future with a real whiteboard play, and then obviously film. So do we go to the next one, Austin?
Let's go to the next.
All right,
one.
we'll go to the next one. Is that you doing it, or did I do it?
You got it. So tap the picture with the little cursor, and then get rid of it.
Oh,
hypothetically, or tap outside the picture and hit delete.
Oh, hold on. Whoops.
I got
Hold on. Struggling. Oh, that was it. All right. This is the next one. This is for you guys wondering, when I talk about Ted Washington and what you need to make a 3-4 work. Well, first of all, this is Reuben Brown right here.
Reuben.
Hi, Reuben. Yeah. Bad dude. Bad dude. Big Rube. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He played left guard for us forever. That's who I used to cut my teeth against in practice. Okay. My man was 315, 20 pounds and can run, could do 360 dunk. He was Quentin Nelson before Quentin Nelson. He was mean and ruthless. Cool dude. As you see right here. Okay. You got junk in the trunk. You better come with it. Okay. All right. So Reuben is about, let's just be 310. Right? When I talk about Ted Washington, what you need you need a protector, okay, a bodyguard, somebody that gets you right. Okay, all of legit 6'5". I'll be nice and say 350. Okay, I'll do 2 because I'm like even numbers. Big man right here. Look at this. I can't even get him in the full circle. All right.
He looks as wide as he is tall.
And trust me, I've only seen him off his feet 2 times, and I played with him for 4 years. Phenomenal athlete. He would leap over like somebody was on the ground, he'd leap over and make a tackle. Big man was a great athlete.
Do you care to name the 2 times you saw him off his feet, or would that get you in trouble?
It wouldn't get me in trouble. I don't even remember.
Okay.
But it was a big deal because he never was off his feet. phenomenal cook too.
Got to be
right here.
6'5",
And when I talk about being heavy-handed and forceful, okay, right here,
club.
Right, when they talk about his hands, he wore 2 gloves.
Ooh.
So he wore like one that were a little bit tighter, and then he wore these other ones that had a little bit more protection. Talking about being heavy-handed and a great athlete, and the best part about it is, Austin, look at this neck roll.
Oh,
look at that neck roll.
Classic.
Old school neck roll. Yes, sir.
That's the way.
Yes, sir. Big man was doing it big. So that's what you need to make a 3-4 go. That's the 3-4 that I was able to play. Kind of like Pittsburgh, 0-2-5 techniques. My man was taking up the A and B gap. So I was definitely being able to do my thing.
So you might get to this, but is a guy like Ted Washington as important in a 3-3-5 as he is in a 3-4?
That's a great question. I think he is because, well, first of all, Ted Washington is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I do think. And depends on how you play the 3-3-5.
Okay.
Being that big, he's an outlier. Being that tall, that big, that athletic, and still could rush the passer on third downs. It's not a like a detriment if you don't have somebody like that. But I think like how Nash plays at time where you can get him on the move and be athletic enough, but then powerful enough to stay in there against the run is just fine. So he could be 6'3", 290, but he's got to be really, really good, strong, and play with good leverage.
So 2 things on that. 4884 says, I loved watching Ted Washington and Keith the Tractor Trailer in Chicago.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Then Nash in the NFL.
Yeah.
How are teams going to look at him and use him? Because he's not as big. He's big, but he's not as big as Ted Washington. How are NFL teams going to view Nash Hutmacher?
I think they'll be able to use him kind of like Keith Trailer. Dontarius Poe for Kansas City. Remember him?
Yep.
Better athlete than what people give him credit for. He'll be able to play, obviously, a nose. He's actually shown ability to play a little bit on the edge, so he'll be able to come in and be a really, really effective in the first and second down rundowns. And then he'll be able to be in there in nickel defenses, run nickel defenses, and then be able to provide, like I call it, secondary pass rush. So we're able to essentially take up 2 blocks and kind of be very, very smart and come off. But Nash is a sneaky good athlete and plays with good leverage. And so I think he will, as long as he get in the right situation as far as rushing the passer, I think he'll be able to get better because he'll have, more opportunities because,
you won't get double team.
You won't get double team, right? All that type of stuff, and
Yeah.
it's a little bit more of a drop back game, so it lets you get there. Okay. I think that's the best thing that Nash will, if he can get 2 really good outside pass rushers or a scheme that schemes up stuff, he'll be really, really successful. So the next one that we're going to, I think, right here, Austin, is a 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
Right, this is what I played, for. About half of my career, but depends. But all my time in college, so this is what I grew up on, right? And this right here is very simple. This is a little bit of blurry, but right here, 4 defensive linemen, 1, 2, 3, 4, all various alignments. Then right here, this is actually probably nickel defense, but let's just say this is the outside. This is your linebacker here, linebacker here, linebacker here, right? And so they look like they're playing probably like a cover 3, just because the safety is coming down. He'll look like he'll be in the flat third, deep third. Obviously, he's shading towards what's called the slot, outside third, right? But those 4 defensive linemen can line up anywhere they want. Generally, you're getting right here, outside pass rush. You're getting some sort of inside pass rush, and that's pretty much standard. And you can run all types of games. There's the difference between a 3-4 and a 4-3, the basic 3-4 and a 4-3 is in the 3-4, you can mess up the count of the lineman and the quarterback maybe a little bit easier because you don't know what side the blitz is coming from. You don't know who to count as the mic because you can flip. You can cause a little bit more confusion, and you can be potentially a little bit more athletic. It's not as much as big a difference now because these defensive ends, outside linebackers are to be able to do both things, and they're very athletic. So I don't think it's a big change. But you're able to do a little bit more. You got more speed on there. You got 4 linebackers, versus 3, or 4 linebackers versus 3, and 3 defensive linemen versus 4, so you can get a little bit more athletic.
So for you, when you look at this 4-3, usually is there one of the outside backers shaded more toward one side of the offensive line? Because they're not all three playing straight up behind the offensive lineman, are they?
No, it depends on it depends on the offensive formation. So if you can get into, like, we had 12 personnel, you'll bring the safety down so it'll actually look more like a 4-4, and it'll be one back, one gap. So you'll have a shaded nose, which is on the one side of the center. The middle linebacker will have the opposite A gap. Then you'll have the 3 technique, which is the B gap. And then depending on if the tight end's to the side or not, you'll have either a tight 5 or a 6 technique, or you could go 7 if there's a tight end. And then you do the opposite over there, where you have, if it's the 2 tight ends just on the line, depending on how the formation, how you want the inside linebacker or outside linebacker in the side, the tight end or out. Everybody has a one back, one gap, but you're in man to man, so you have to have excellent eyes. What makes the 3-4 or what makes the 4-3 go? Obviously, if you have a Warren Sapp, Aaron Donald, obviously, there you go. But on the outs you'd like to have one of these guys. So Bruce Smith is great. He played in 3-4. He's played 4-3, and he's done it. Guys that generally are good pass rushers can pass rush in any of these. They just need opportunities. Any defense is strong up the middle. You want to be strong at, the first level right here, second level, third. Both in playmaking ability, physicality, and smarts. You got to be excellent up the middle. Because in my mind, getting explosive on the outside, that's always been a corners thing. Where you can really get explosive offensively is in between the numbers, right? So that's why I feel like, and that's both in the run
and hatches.
Right. And that's where the run in crossers, level routes, taking the cheese. You could stretch it maybe outside the numbers. But I think that's why you need to be really, really strong up the middle.
When you look at the defensive line here, right, the four-man front that Husker fans have been on the text line asking us about.
Yeah.
What are you looking for at the defensive tackle position, right? Because I know Nebraska fans are used to like a Randy Gregory on the outside, something like that.
So that's it. Grant Wistrom, all that. Obviously that type of body type doesn't really matter. If you can rush the passer, you can rush the passer. Right. Sometimes you got outside linebackers, like you could say maybe like a Dawson Merritt. Remember, what was his name? He was real small. He wasn't technically, or he was listed as a linebacker. Really was a safety. DeMario Williams.
Oh, sure.
Remember him? Mm-hmm. Where they lined him out, Bo Pelini lined him outside, and he did work. I think he almost had double-digit sacks, right? Mm-hmm. So you could take a linebacker and push him out there. So that's kind of just standard. 3-4, 3-3-5. Outside guys are outside guys. Doesn't matter where they come from. Inside, you could have a nose that either is like Nash, or I play with a guy, Jeff Ogard, that was kind of like Ted Washington size. You could have, you could have a 4-3. Here's a perfect example, since we don't have to talk about the 90s. We'll talk about 2009. Yeah, Jared Crick and Ndamukong Suh. And
not the same player.
Not the same player, but neither one of them had to play over the nose. They could, but they didn't. So they played maybe some 2 eyes and maybe a 3 and kind of shade or slanted to it, and they both were really dominant.
Did Suh play any 3-4 in the NFL, or is he pretty strictly a 4-3 guy?
I think he played some 3-4. Everybody plays 3-4 at some point in time.
Sure.
I think maybe in Miami he did. Definitely not in Tampa. Not really in Detroit, but I think he did in Miami some. And that's just was based on it. But Ndamukong Suh is going to do his thing. So he's 10 other guys let him do his thing. And just play within the scheme of the defense.
As a 4-3 linebacker, you're primarily in the middle of the 4-3, and then 3-4 you played one of the 2 inside spots as well, right?
Right.
What changes for your keys and your cues?
Well, when you're in the 4-3, so this is it right here. This is it, since Austin's talking about a 4-3 right here. So let's not fall in love with the numbers or body types, right? Mm-hmm. So essentially, we'll get into this. It's 4 defensive linemen. Right here, number 51 is playing essentially a 4-3 linebacker here, right? So the tight ends to the left is 11 personnel, which means one running back, 1 tight end, and that's how you're doing it, right? So this is essentially what we call we used to call over front, right? Now, this is Cam Hayward, who can 2 gap and play as good as anybody, and he's been playing forever. So he's not essentially a 1, he's actually a shaded 2, as you see him right here, right? But you got a true 3 technique right here, right? And then you got to head up to inside, so that would be about a 7 technique on 98. And then you got your other 56 out here, essentially, playing outside. And then you got this right here. So if this run, I'll teach you right here. If this run goes this way, right here, he's probably head up to inside or the safety's coming down here. So I'll tap that back.
Because there's got to be a linebacker to the defense's left here, right?
Right. Or maybe not. So this is nickel defense. So this is how you can play. This is great here. So you can do this right here. He could be head up, 2 gaps to outside, late safety filler right here. Okay. You're not going to shoot the gap because if the run is going this way, okay, you want to be inside out. You're right here. Right. So everything's covered here. Now, if this run goes here, all right, you expected him to be head up in here. If depends. I think that's a body out here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You could get him upfield, slant inside. We've seen Nebraska do this. He has what? He's got to set the edge.
Set the edge, yep.
And guess who's the fill player?
51.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So there's multiple ways you can go and skin the cat.
And so to your point here, when you look at the numbers, right? Offense is always looking where they +1.
Right.
Either way, you drew it up with the 3-4 or the 4-3. You showed how the defense gets the numbers advantage back based on where the run's going.
Yeah, and it all is depend on you got to make these numbers. You got to make yourself, win. You got to win. Like everybody thinks that you could just call a defense and then nobody's going to try to compete, and then you get sacks and turnovers. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to, like for instance, right here. If this play goes here or this play goes here quick, he cannot not make a decision. Or say he goes head up and inside, but he gets washed down right here, and he's coming to be, the field player. Well, now he already didn't beat the edge out here. Now he is essentially a wasted.
Because you have 2 guys in
because
one gap.
Because you got to play him head up to heavy inside and own this right here. Versus sometimes you can get washed down into this B gap. So then this C gap, I call it, turns into mega C gap because you get washed down.
Is that usually because of a good block or because the guy's trying too hard to jet inside and make a play?
It could be both. It could be a good block, like if you get Gronkowski and he hip toss, because what they'll do is they'll get you and then they'll hip toss you in there. Or it could be like, okay, well, I have, the C gap. I technically went in the C gap, but you just widen the D gap that nobody can be effective. Because what's most important here, Austin, and everybody listening, is this. Too much right now. I need to find a way to erase it faster. So when this guy is going here, you got to think this guy here, or I doubt they have anybody in the alley here. He's coming down late. He's not lined up out there. So he needs you to knock this guy back a little bit so the running back has to deviate a little bit.
Flatten.
Yeah. He's got to push him back. We used to call it burp. Burp the lineman, burp in this case, the tight end. You got to win here. That's a winning play. Somebody has to win. Point of attack, somebody has to win, right? Backside, somebody has to win. One of these guys have to win.
To prevent the cutback?
Prevent the cutback. Because if you win here so good and he cuts it back and say
51's flown, safety's trying to set the edge,
and Cam Hayward ends up over here, I can guarantee you he's right here and he's hitting his head on the goalpost and everybody's mad and they're going to say, you know what, that's a bad defense. Strike up the band and get you out of here. It doesn't work like that. You gotta do a little bit better here. So this next one we have here, a little bit blurry, and this right here is essentially Nebraska's 3-3-5, but played, guess what, in the pros. Okay,
by the Pittsburgh
Steelers. All right. So right here, this would be, say this is, let's say this is, what number is Shavers? Is he 10? He's changed the number like 85
I think
times.
It went to 11.
Okay.
11 or 12.
No, that's McGahee. Shavers is 10.
Right. Yeah, 10.
And say this is Bullock, right? Okay. 0, 9, right? And let's just say this is Jamari right here. What number was he?
10. Jamari was 1 and then went to 10.
Let's put him at 1. Okay, that's your 3-3. Okay, and then this would be MJ Sherman, right? Or Jamari. Doesn't matter. Okay, there you go. That's your 3-3-5, and this is a little pipsqueak, so this is probably Hartzog. All right. Then you got Singleton, and then obviously everybody. So you play it, and that's the difference. Now, what's the advantage of this? Even against 12 personnel, right? 12 personnel is this: one running back, and I'll just put X as 2 tight ends. This is a run set right here. This is run. So you aren't weak against the run. You just got to play it, right? When you look at it right here, okay? So obviously, you got 2 guys setting the edge. You know where the gaps are. Now you got to be able to fill it, and you generally got to play with square pads. And so everybody runs a variation of a 3-3-5, 4-3, 3-4, 4-2-5. We saw in nickel. You play dime. It's the same thing. You just got, guys with a little bit, smaller waist and smaller shoulders, and it's the same thing. Not apples to apples, but generally. Once you get down the basics and understanding how to play football and wanting to play football, you won't worry about how many defensive linemen you get in. And I will tell you this, if you really, really paid close attention to it, against Rutgers, Nebraska ran their 3-3-5, but did it with a big unit. Well, that's when Judy came in. They did the same thing against Wisconsin, where you saw Van Poppel play with Nash and Ty. So that's kind of technically maybe a 3-4, but it was a 3-3-5 with bigger guys, right? Because obviously a little bit bigger than Jamari. Then they've also played kind of like this right here, where you would have maybe, obviously he's not going to be here anymore. You got James Williams, and then maybe you had Jamari, and then you just have Ty and Nash in there. That's kind of like your nickel front. And if I had to say one thing, maybe this is nickel third down, but realistically, it's a 3-3-5 with nickel personnel.
In the best offenses and defenses, they're going to have players that make a play regardless of the situation, right? You've been on that. In that example there of that 3-3-5, it's a run set. Pittsburgh's loading up for it, right? It's a well-coached defense. So I assume that Seattle looks like it's Geno and Kenneth Walker there.
That's my man, the MILF Hunter. That's Zach Wilson.
Oh, Zach Wilson?
Yeah,
That's the Jets?
Yeah,
Dang,
Breece Hall. Yeah,
okay.
Breece Hall. My bad.
Either way,
let's see if I can get this bad boy back up there.
If that's a run set from the Jets, the best offenses are going to find a way to make it look like a run set and find a way to pass it. Right? Because they know the defense is loading up against the run. And then vice versa, right? Husker fans would tell you the 3-3-5 is too soft against the run. It's not a big enough front. The players are too small.
Right.
Well, guess what? The players have a chance to make a play because, like you just demonstrated, they can create a numbers advantage where they want.
Yeah, and
it's not about the scheme. It's about, can you go make a play? Can you overcome any perceived disadvantage? Go find a way to stop it, make a play the offense doesn't make.
Every offensive play has a weakness. Every defensive play has a weakness. I think if you play, you will give up some yards. And, is a 4-3 is probably a better against the run. I'll tell you that. 3-3-5 is probably a little bit, more geared towards spread offenses, right? So that means RPO and, and all that stuff. And so that's where it maybe is geared to. But I think over time, I think people have started to welcome the 3-3-5 because it gives you a ton of flexibility. It gives you athlete flexibility. You can get more speed, which can obviously make up for some size deficiencies that you have, across your front. And so it's a smaller game, but in general, in college football, I'm 6'2.5", pushing 6'3". When you were 6 foot, tried to play linebacker, you wouldn't get a look. You know what I'm saying? That's why a Hall of Fame linebacker like London Fletcher, from John Carroll, literally had to free agent his way into a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
And so the game has changed. And so then if the game has changed, offense and defense has changed, and obviously this is defense. And so you have to be able to adjust, and you got to be able to play it. And then also you got to understand, as long as you don't give direct access to a second level and third level of a defense, doesn't matter what the front is.
Yeah.
And generally it's front side and back side. And when you can really get that principles down and really communicate. I mean, one thing I'll say that right here before we end this segment right here, you see right here. Let me see where I can get this. Where's this thing at? Oh, here we go. Well, look, I feel like the pigmentation version of John Madden. But listen here, another big thing that really separates good defenses versus against so-so defense. I'm gonna get this all the way back, and I'm just gonna highlight a few guys here. Okay, here's what really separates the defense. Right, if you really want to make progress as a defense, it's called communication. Right, look at him. Okay, look at him. Look at him talking. Right. Look at these two dudes. right? And even back here, just by his legs, I can tell he's communicating to the corners out here.
He's walking up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's already listened because he knows. That's all three levels communicating all the same thing.
Horizontally and vertically.
Exactly. That's the next step. That's what you're doing. That's like in obviously this is the pros, but you're pros now. And so if you want to be a pro, start acting and practicing and playing like it. Communication. This is pre-snap communication. Just based on this formation or whatever they had, right? Film study, right? Whether it's 12 personnel, back offset, back depth, doesn't matter. This is the communication that you need to be successful. That allows you to play fast. That allows you to be athletic. That allows you to be physical. That like it really over communicating and communicating the right way actually allows you to play clearer and faster. There's no confusion because there's an old saying, it doesn't matter what we call as long as everybody plays the same thing. We'll figure out what we didn't do right after we win and after we don't give up a touchdown on the sidelines with our Gatorade. That's generally what you have to do. So anyways, Whiteboard Wednesday went a little bit extended on this Thirsty Thursday. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And obviously we've gotten a lot of good feedback from it. We'll continue to do it even on a bigger scale. We'll do a little bit of season review and then also what to expect moving forward. It does not necessarily have to be Nebraska, but you could teach off of any type of football, any formation, any type of
even my flag football highlights.
I can.
All right,
I can. We can talk about high point in the ball.
I was the Bills one year.
Yeah, yeah. But there's a person that's associated with the ticket. Won't say his name or his initials, but he went to a local high school. I watched him try to play tight end.
Oh boy.
Yeah. No.
Enough said.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, Old School. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through December 17th is 15% off all wine and spirits and 25% off on thermometers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Make the short drive to Pleasantdale and enjoy a great meal at the P-Dale Pub. From prime rib, patty melts, ribeyes, drink specials, and so much more, the P-Dale Pub provides a small-town feel with exceptional service and delicious food. Visit the P-Dale Pub in Pleasantdale today and watch their Facebook page each week to find out their dinner specials.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call John Henrys at 402-435-5555 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-435-5555.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $395 per month. Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 1003769, $395 per month, lease for 36 months with proof credit, 7,500 miles per year, $5,250 due at signing, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 11/30/24. See delivery details.
Hey guys, it's Nick. You know how much I love beer, and this game day, show your Husker pride with Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of the Nebraska Alumni Association. Brewed by Nebraska fans, for Nebraska fans, Dear Old Nebraska Brew is your go-to for every kickoff, touchdown, and celebration. Whether it's tailgating, watching the game at home, or gathering with friends, this beer is there to bring that perfect game day refreshment. Dear Old Nebraska Brew embodies the spirit of Nebraska with every sip. So crack one open and let the good times roll. Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of Nebraska alumni. Please drink responsibly.
Come enjoy a show of the Midwest's best MMA fighters on Saturday, December 7th with Violence Fight League 2 at the Complex, the former location of Champions Fun Center. Fights are scheduled throughout the night, and if you haven't been before, now is the perfect time to go, with Nebraska football in between the regular season and a bowl game. Doors open at 6 p.m. with the first bout at 7 p.m. Learn more about the fighters and buy tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, UGG, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3, get 1 free on smart wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy person in your life. Brown Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, wanting to thank you all again for your continued service. November is off and running. Check this out. Get up to $12,000 off or 0% financing on select new vehicles. We have great lease specials with new Trax and Trailblazers starting at $299 per month and new Blazer EVs leasing for $399. Great payments, discounts, and of course, 0% financing. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did. All finance with approved credit, leases with $2,500 down.
League One Volleyball is coming to Omaha this January. Featuring Olympic medalist Jordan Larson and Justine Wong-Arantes, Love Omaha Volleyball is Omaha's newest pro team. The inaugural season will showcase some of the world's best volleyball players, from medalists to NCAA champions and international superstars, with the action kicking off on January 24th at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Visit LOVB.com for more information and to purchase tickets. Volleyball is the next major league.
The bell rings and the school day starts. The future of our fiberhoods lies in their hands. That's why Allo Fiber invests in schools, students, and the next generation of leaders. If you sign up for Allo service between now and December 31st, Allo will donate $50 to the school of your choice. Joining the Allo Fiber family isn't just about crazy fast, reliable internet. It's about giving back to your local community and investing in what matters most. Switch to Allo today and we'll donate $50 to your chosen school. Visit allofiber.com/education to make a difference now.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Every type of meat, every type of cut. They got a few Lincoln locations and one up in Omaha as well. Check them out for all your protein-based needs and more. Not just every type of meat, every type of cut. They got all sorts of stuff. A few Lincoln locations and one up in Omaha again as well. I am Moss Norman. Got just about 15 minutes or so left on the show. Big thanks to Jay for Whiteboard Wednesday, but on a Thursday. That was fun. Husker fans, I think if you caught that, you better not be on our text line complaining about the 335 again. Husker fans, if you didn't catch it, I highly recommend you go back, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and rewatch the video portion of it. Jay did a great job of walking all of us together through just how similar and slightly different these fronts are. Point being from Jay, really doesn't matter, right? What matters is, can you create the numbers advantage as a defense and take back any disadvantage that you might have as the offense looks at you because of how you fill gaps, because of how you win your one-on-ones or you disrupt when you're double team. So that was a great breakdown from Jay. I know I always appreciate that. Yeah, I'm from Nebraska. Yeah, I've watched my fair share of Husker football. That does not mean I always know what I'm talking about. So I appreciate having guys like Jay willing to break it down, right? It's a football education for me as well. And I hope that starts showing up sooner than later, hopefully in time for Nebraska's bowl game. We still await the final destination for the Huskers. That will be released here in just a couple days. Sunday is officially bowl selection day. My gut keeps pointing me to Nebraska ending up in the Pinstripe Bowl, which is fine. Not exactly prestigious. Going to be cold as all heck out there in New York City. Dead of winter, Yankee Stadium, not much in terms of blocking the wind or staying in the way. And the way the field is oriented, I think Nebraska could even hit a home run, right? Get that short Williamsport style right field short porch that Juan Soto and Aaron Judge were absolute merchants of. But I digress. We're not talking about just how overrated Rico's Yankees are. Bubba, if you're listening on the text line, I apologize, but it's for absolutely nothing. News of the day. News of the day out of Nebraska. No new transfer portal entrance for the Huskers, but it is official. Garrett McGuire will not return to Nebraska. Sounds like he is headed back down to Texas to join his dad, Joey McGuire, on the staff at Texas Tech. Best of luck to Garrett McGuire. I wasn't sure this was going to be the move that happened. It wouldn't have shocked me if Matt Rule had kept Garrett McGuire around. I think he does provide some value in the recruiting realm. I think he is a pretty good closer, right? He's a guy that you can depend on to build some good relationships with recruits and with their families. But I think as we've seen the last couple of years, Nebraska didn't maximize the wide receiver talent at its potential. And I think part of that is having such a young wide receivers coach, a guy that didn't play wide receiver. Yeah, he was a quarterback. You should know something about it. But plain and simple, it wasn't good enough. It didn't cut it. And best of luck to Garrett McGuire down at Texas Tech. Of course, Nebraska brings in Da'Keel Shorts Jr. He was Kentucky's wide receivers coach last year. Short NFL playing career for him. He played for Dana Holgorsen at West Virginia, worked for him there when Holgorsen was the head coach at West Virginia, and then was the receivers coach for him for the 3 years from 2021 to 2023. I do think Nebraska got a good one, a guy with plenty of recruiting ties and connections, a guy that played the position, a guy that'll know how to coach it up. And that, to me, is kind of the story of this offseason for Nebraska. Okay, you got to a bowl game. Congratulations, you did the bare minimum, but a significant bare minimum, right? You took the next step, and that's to be commended. Now professionalize, right? It's time to grow up as a program. You took your first step. You're back to walking. You're not getting bruised and battered from every angle. Good. Congratulations. I don't want to knock Nebraska making a bowl game because it had to happen. Not saying it's worthy of a parade or a party, but you accomplished something that you hadn't done since 2016. Good job. Now professionalize. You made it work with a staff and with a group of players that was probably better than year one, but not as appreciably better as I think most of us would have hoped for. 5-7 to 6-6 is an improvement. They found a way to win that one extra game. But now it's time for, like I've been saying, for Matt Rule and his staff to be right. Professionalize, right? Raise the standard. If Matt Rule wants this to be the last time Nebraska celebrates going 6-6, some of these moves had to happen, right? The demotion of Marcus Satterfield probably had to happen. The demotion of an eventual firing of Garrett McGuire from wide receivers coach probably had to happen. Great. They were a 6-win staff. They found a way to get it done. I don't know if the coaching staff got everything it could have out of the players. I don't know if the players covered up some of the coaching shortcomings. Either way, Nebraska ended the year at 6 wins. There was probably some of both going on. Okay, you get one more opportunity to prove who you are, who you want to be, see how far you've come. But I think the page has already turned to next season, right? With Dana Holgorsen locked up, with Da'Keel Shorts in to coach wide receivers. You got guys that are professionals at what they do. And I think even something as small as that is a step in the right direction. Could Da'Keel Shorts be bringing some reinforcements to the receiver room with him? Potentially. There are a couple interesting names from Kentucky that have entered the transfer portal. I'll tell you about them to wrap up Old School.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Make the short drive to Pleasantdale and enjoy a great meal at the P-Dale Pub. From prime rib, patty melts, ribeyes, drink specials, and so much more, the P-Dale Pub provides a small town feel with exceptional service and delicious food. Visit the P-Dale Pub in Pleasantdale today and watch their Facebook page each week to find out their dinner specials.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetables, chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today. If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an advocate you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group, trial attorneys you need, advocates you deserve. That's 877-42-LIBERTY or libertylawnebraska.com.
This holiday season, recharge with the Planet Fitness Black Card for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. So instead of fighting a stranger in the mall over a stuffed T-Rex, bring a friend for free and work out on the TRX. Instead of freezing in line for a lame holiday deal, relax in the Black Card spa with some hydro massage feels. Instead of being trapped at your in-laws, escape to any of our 2,600 Planet Fitness locations. Sign up today for the Planet Fitness Black Card. Just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Deal ends Friday, December 6th. See Club for details.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
One last time on Old School. It's Austin Norman with you for just a few minutes, getting you set up here for WTF. Eastrick and Cluster will be with you. I mentioned going to break that there are a couple wide receivers from Kentucky who have hit the transfer portal. One of them, a guy by the name of Dane Key, has been pretty darn good for the Wildcats over the years. He's played 3 years in Lexington, and just last year he was the Wildcats' leading receiver. He ends up with 47 catches for 715 yards, and 2 of them went for touchdowns. Year before that, 42 catches, 636 yards, and 6 tutties. As a freshman, 37 for 519 and 6 touchdowns as well. Bigger bodied guy, 6'3", 210-pounder. Definitely a guy Nebraska could stick on the outside. Sort of a Jamal Banks replacement, potentially. Would be a big get, I think, for Nebraska to bring a proven commodity like that in. Don't think he's a game breaker. Don't think he's a game changer. Do think he would be Mr. Reliable. I think that would be a good add for Nebraska. Potentially more exciting. More of an X factor, I think, than a glue guy for this offense, and specifically for special teams, would be a player by the name of Barion Brown. Barion Brown. He's 6'1", 182, can play a little bit of receiver outside, can play inside a little bit. Over the course of his career, he has 11 touchdown catches as well as 2 touchdown runs, but that's not really where he shines. He has taken over the role of return specialist for Kentucky, and the numbers bear that out. This last year, Kentucky, 19 kick returns for 450 yards, an average of 23.6 yards per return. He did take one back 99 yards to the house, also returned a punt for 6 yards. 2023, he burst on the scene, 16 kick returns for 575 yards and even 36 yards per return, 3 of them for touchdowns. He also had 3 punt returns for 51 total yards. And then in 2022, another 16 kick returns for 440 yards. That's 27.5 yards per return with 1 kickoff touchdown. Also 7 punt returns for 28 yards. I think Dane Key would be a boost to the offense, right? Mr. Reliable, a target on the outside for Dylan Raiola. Barion Brown, I would be curious to see if that's a guy that gives Nebraska a look. Will Nebraska need another receiver? You never turn down help at the skill positions, especially with Nebraska's track record, and especially with a guy like DeKel Shorts, who has a relationship with both of these guys. I would tell you, I would like Nebraska's chances maybe a little bit better with Dane Key. I think that he could play his way into some NFL draft conversations with a good year with Dylan Raiola. And I think he would give Nebraska more consideration than a guy like Barion Brown. Maybe I'm just talking out of my butt here, and you've heard other information. But as I look at it, Nebraska would be excited about adding Barion Brown for the return element that he could bring to the team. But if you're Barion Brown, would you feel confident that Nebraska would scheme properly for you to have the same opportunities you did at Kentucky? Think about Mark Stoops, right? That's a guy in the Youngstown, Ohio tradition, right? There's some Iowa with Mark Stoops going on as well. That's solid defense, and that's good special teams. Nebraska hasn't had that in the return game, right? So as much as Nebraska might need a Barion Brown type to juice up the return game a little bit, I don't think it would be a slam dunk conclusion that just because his receiver coach came to Nebraska that Barion Brown would necessarily feel obligated to follow, because obviously returning a kick for a touchdown, one guy gets credit for the tutty, but it's a unit-based thing, right? I don't know if I would feel comfortable in his shoes of, trusting Nebraska to consistently find ways to get him the ball in kick return and find ways to spring him loose. Maybe the runner makes the kick return scheme, but I think in a lot of cases, the kick return scheme makes the runner. Mark Stoops in Kentucky have been really good at that with Barion Brown, and I'm sure his individual talent has certainly made that easier for him. It'll be curious to watch, to monitor, to follow, because I think both those guys could certainly help Nebraska. I'll get out of here. I got my partner for On the Block, E. Strick, getting ready for We Talk Facts. Big thanks to Jay for popping in for Old School and for Whiteboard Wednesday. Thanks to the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, Sartor Heyman Jewelers, and our friends at Allo. It's been fun. WTF comes your way in just a sec.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CRF-R Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CRF Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with a Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CRF 50F, or or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through December 17th is 15% off all wine and spirits and 25% off on thermometers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and is currently searching for journeyman plumbers to join their team. Experience is preferred, but not required for all applicants. When you join the team at Davis Plumbing, you'll receive full benefits package with paid time off. Join a small local business doing big things in Lincoln.